Hi everybody, it's Alison Marlowe here, and in this Global Winning Women live chat, I'm delighted to be joined by best-selling author of The Wealth Chef and founder of the Financial Freedom University, Ann Wilson. She's a highly sought-after money expert and speaker who makes regular radio and television appearances worldwide. And, you know, there's still a massive taboo around talking about money, but as entrepreneurial women who are living our lives on purpose, we really need to get comfortable talking about this subject, talking about money, and not only talking about money, but making it and keeping it too. So we've got the best person to actually be having this chat with today. Anne teaches all over the world, and I know this is going to be content rich, and it's also going to be really, really fast paced. So, Anne, are you there?
I am absolutely here and so thrilled to be here and with your amazing Global Winning Women. And it's just an area I'm so passionate about. I love talking about money, getting it out the closet, realizing that this is such a juicy ingredient to creating this great life that we want, that most of us have just never really been taught about it. So we've got all sorts of messed up, muddled up beliefs and emotions and relationship with it.
And, you know, right at the very beginning of this call, Anne, I've just recognized something that happened in me. I'm really excited to be talking to you about money. And, you know, if we had this call, probably, I did your 7 weeks to financial freedom course, which was absolutely amazing. And that was in January 2013, I did that course. But, you know, prior to going on that course, I would have probably been conducting this chat with you today in an extremely serious mode and taking everything so terribly seriously and being almost fearful of the whole subject. But I'm light, I'm bubbly, I'm excited. You know, it really, really is time that we started to get comfortable about this subject, really start to understand our relationship with money. And, that's why we have you here with us today. You know, money's a big influencer, isn't it? And, you know, I think one of the things that it's an influencer, it can also be a really messy topic as well. And I think, you know, one of the things that would be really great if we could, if you're up for this, but, you know, share something with us, Anne, as a starting point about where do we start with healing our relationship with money, because we all have a relationship with money and we all have a story. So I'm going to throw that to you straight away.
Yeah, this is so key because I think we all, every day, we are dealing with money. Money is intrinsically linked with every aspect of our life, whether we like it or not. Whether we go, oh no, I'm a highly spiritual being, you know, money's not important, or these things. Really, the key thing is to really start just being conscious and aware of what do we believe about money? What are the kind of things we say about money and ourselves and our relationship with money? And really, you know, awareness is that first key. And when we start going, you know what? Money is up there with oxygen and water. Imagine if poor old oxygen, every breath we took in, we went, oh, I don't need oxygen, or, oxygen's the root of all evil. We don't. We breathe in, we breathe out. We accept it as an intricate part of, an intrinsic part of what we need to live, to be alive. And the reality is, in our modern world, money is now as intrinsically linked, not just in terms of physical things that we need, the roof of our head, the food we have to feed ourselves, the experiences we want, but it's also interwoven with our relationships, the businesses we want to create, and ironically, our self-worth. Now, when we can start understanding all these things, we realize that money in itself has no meaning but the meaning we give it. Mm. And until we can truly, truly get to the root of what is the meaning we give money, the meaning of what it means to bring money in, keep it, its relationship with us, we then can't even start considering, does that meaning work for us and help us create this juicy feast of a life we want, or is it taking us into money hell and a lot of fear and anxiety? So this great first thing is awareness. And it might sound weird and go, well, of course I'm aware of my money. I'm aware that it's damn hard to bring it in and it never seems to stay and there's never enough. Well, that's part of the awareness I'm talking about. Or it's complicated, or I just don't get it, or I'm not good with it. And so that's just that whole broad aspect of money. And then the different layers around it. What does investing mean to you? And just almost like being that fly on the wall of your own life. Just start noticing, how do you deal with money? What's that feeling inside of it? Even if we're having this conversation and we're just saying money, 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 does this make you feel uncomfortable and go, oh no, I'm not going to listen to this because that's for greedy people or whatever it is that we say? That great first thing is just huge awareness and just observe with no judgment, and go, that's interesting. And I really recommend people keep a wealth journal, a money journal, and in it, just to write down some of these things. And because then with awareness, clarity is power. Then we can start shifting and creating a far more empowering relationship around that. I mean, there's so much I could keep going on. I don't know if you want to sort of jump in.
This is amazing. This is fabulous, and because I do have awareness around money, but just hearing you remind me of that, has already made me realise how once again I've become a little bit blasé. Isn't that interesting? And I think, gosh, how all of us just take money for granted.
And that we create this, if we think about an intimate relationship, and we know in relationships it's something that, we can use the word, we've got to work on it. But maybe we must talk about rather, work can often sound heavy and, it's a difficult thing, we've got to work on it. So maybe a word more about, we've got to invest energy in it. We've got to set clear intentions. We've got to really understand what we're wanting from our relationships with those, our family, our spouse, our partner, our children, our parents, those people that are important to us. And go, what is the relationship I really want? What juices me? What fills me up? And really getting clear on that, and then put energy into making those things happen. When we get blasé and just start going, oh well, it will just tick over, we start drifting, and that separation starts happening, and that deep growth and joy that we get from those relationships can dissipate. And I really encourage people to think in terms of the same way. Let me get intimate with my money. Let me really get intimate with it. And go, okay, money, what is it that I want from you? Because here is the thing. Money is a disastrous master, but it is a fantastic, let me say, instead of calling it servant, it's a fantastic employee. But it needs to have direction. And if we don't give space and time to go, first, really acknowledge that it is a key and vital ingredient and really important in our lives. Secondly, then to say, okay, money, this is what I want. This is the type of life I want to lead. This is what I value. This is what's really important to me. And then from that place, I can then start directing you, money, to bring more of that into my life. And this changes the dimension and the relationship with so many people, and even our education system. We go into business. We constantly even use the phrase working for money. I work for money. I earn money. Go and get a good job and train yourself. Get a skill, learn a new strategy so that you can earn more money, so you can bring it in. So most of people's energy is all about how to bring money in. Yeah. But very little energy is then spent or focus and real attention to go, now what? For what purpose? For what purpose? I've now harvested this, I've brought this in, but what am I going to create? What am I going to give the leadership to? And this is when it is so important that we put the proverbial cart behind the horse. Yes. We have to lead that. And then really seeing that money is then just a mechanism to bring more of what we want into our life. And when we do it with more consciousness, more absolute leadership, we can create more of that. And it shifts and the relationship, it shifts that realizing that, and I'll come back to this word, this ingredient, and why I use the analogy with cooking and stuff, because It is just an ingredient. And whether we create money hell in our life or whether we create absolute wealth heaven has got nothing to do with money and everything to do with us and what we do with it.
Yes.
And so all of this comes back to us first. And this is so important. So many people say, oh, Anne, teach me a strategy. How can I get more clients or get more business or get more income in? And income is a very important ingredient, but it's not the only ingredient in creating wealth. And in fact, it's not the most important ingredient. It is then what you do with that money, how you direct it, and ensuring that you convert some of that money into these juicy things called assets, which can actually start working for you. These are these investments, passive businesses, investment property, stocks and shares. And, I thought to myself, oh no, Anne, that's scary.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be really useful for, some of our audience to really kind of explain in very simplistic terms really what you mean by assets, because I know when I did the program that I did with you, Anne, I was surprised when you actually gave that definition. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. So would that be okay?
Absolutely, because this is so fundamental. Most of us aren't taught about this. And on my own journey, I ended up getting a good job, studying hard, focusing on bringing that income in. I might be blonde, but I don't think I'm particularly dim. I studied engineering, did all the business stuff, but I was completely financially ignorant. And I had no idea truly the difference between these things called assets and what they really were, and these things called liabilities, which pump money out of our life. And without being able to really understand the difference between the two, it's almost impossible to create financial freedom. And the sad part is most of what we're told about banks or about accountants, in terms of wealth creation and sustainable financial independence and financial freedom, the definition that we're told is wrong. And so most people, especially as they head to let's call it the middle class, the budgeting side, end up filling their life with these things called liabilities, thinking that they're creating wealth, when in fact they're just getting themselves deeper and deeper and deeper into a poverty cycle. So let's get really clear on the difference. Very simply put, a wealth-creating asset, and what you want to be stocking your wealth kitchen with, these things called assets, are things that can cause money in form of income and increased value in absolute tangible terms in this thing called money to flow into your life. A liability is something that causes money to flow, increases your expenses and causes money to flow out of your life. So let's get specific. For example, let's look at the homes we live in. This is the ideal of own your own home, be, financially secure. There's nothing like the lovely thought of, having a roof over your head that nobody can take away from you. And this is great and a key part of understanding what we want from money. But one of the saddest and most tragic things I hear the whole time is people tell me, Anne, my home is my biggest asset. It's gone up in value. I've got all of this equity. And people sort of they get their first job, start earning money, and the first thing most people want to do is buy their first home. Maybe they buy a flat, and they upgrade to a bigger apartment. Maybe their first little home, have kids, and they keep getting these mortgages and going on and on and on. The home you live in is not an asset. Why? Because as long as you're living in it, it cannot earn you money. It cannot earn you an income. Yes, you've got an aspect of capital growth. So when we go into the subtleties and some of our programs, it's actually what I call a neutral asset. It's neither the good or the bad. Like we've got good fats and bad fats in our diet, so do we have these things that we bring in. You've almost got like a traffic light, the big red aspects that pump money of our life, these ambers, which are sort of neutral, and then the green ones. So your home is not an asset, but an investment property. So now here's a property that you can rent out and get capital gains, or you can flip and sell. So you can actually start using money and other people's money to get you more money, is absolutely an asset. Things like investing in the stock market are assets. The stock market is fantastic, and so many women are so afraid of this, and unnecessarily so. It is one of the strongest and easiest places to start getting your money working for you in a simple, very, very cost-effective way, in a real no-brainer, not amount of effort, not amount of cost. You can put these things on autopilot. Because when you invest through the stock market, all you're effectively doing is you get a slice of somebody else's business.
Yeah.
And you benefit from their profit and from their value growth as that company grows without you having to pitch up for a day's work, which is really cool for me.
Oh, absolutely, for many. And I love the fact that you said that, so many people, women particularly, are really fearful of this. It's like anything, isn't it? It's the unknown.
Yeah.
It's the unknown. So,
and so many people say to me, but Anne, I've heard, you can lose all your money in the stock market. It goes up and down, bits and pieces. This is scary. Now, let's understand something about risk. The greatest risk people have is never starting to fill their life with assets. The greatest risk. Because this is the point where, one, they never start learning about investing. They never start learning. You only learn when you're in it, when you're doing, when you're taking action. It means that they never break out of this poverty cycle, because the definition of financial freedom that I use and the place that I managed to get to, and which is just, and my dream and hope for every single person listening to this call, is that place where they have enough assets in their asset pot that they can choose to maintain their current lifestyle or the lifestyle that they really want without having to actively earn, without having to actively work, because those assets bring them that income to cover their lifestyle. This is what I'm talking about. So if you never start converting some of that income that comes into your life into assets and creating assets, because not all assets require money to create. And this is another key distinction. If you don't start putting your life with that,